Distributive property. Now, distributive property declares that if you have an expression, say x plus y, that is being multiplied with, say, a number 3, then you get 3 times x plus 3 times y. So you multiply the number that's outside 3 with each of the terms inside the parentheses. So 3 times x is 3x, 3 times y is 3y. So 3 times x plus y is 3x plus 3y. Now, it works the same way even when the plus is replaced by minus. So let's write down 3 times x minus y is then 3x. Now I like to see this as negative y because there's a minus in front of y. So I want to say 3 times negative y is negative 3y. Now let's look at one other example. Say I have 5 times 2x plus 3. So if I want to use distributive property, then I multiply 5 times 2x and I multiply 5 times 3. So how do I multiply 5 times 2x? I only multiply 5 and 2, that is 10, and the x does not get multiplied with anything. So 5 times 2x is 10x. Now plus 5 times 3 is 15. Now let's look at one other example where you have more than 2 terms. Say there are 3 terms. So something like 2 parentheses 3x square plus 6x minus 7. Now we'll be multiplying the 2 with the 3 terms. So 2 times 3x square is 6x square because 2 times 3 is 6. Then 2 times 6x is 12x. And now I'm seeing 2 times negative 7. So that's going to be negative 14. Now let's say we have not a number outside, but maybe a monomial. So the quantity outside might also have a variable in it. So say, and let's actually keep it negative this time. So negative 3x times 4x square minus 5x plus 2. All right, so now we have to multiply the quantity negative 3x with the 3 quantities. So this time we want to remember negative times negative is positive and negative times positive is negative. So how do you multiply negative 3x with 4x square? Well, you multiply the numbers to number. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And you also multiply the variables x with x square. So x times x square is x cube because x means you have one copy of x square means you have 2 copies of x's. So 1 plus 2 is 3. All right, so that's how negative 3x times 4x square is negative 12x cube. Now we move on to the next term, which is negative 3x times negative 5x. So negative times negative is positive. 3 times 5 is 15. And x times x is x square. Now we move on to the next one. Negative 3x times positive 2 is going to be negative 6x, because negative times positive is negative. And 3 times 2 is 6. This x does not get multiplied with anything here because you don't have any variable in this term. So x remains x. Now, distributive property could be useful in some examples, in some cases. Say you have to multiply 4 times 200 and say 32. Now, this is a pretty big number, but we can certainly break down the 232 as 200 plus 30 plus 2. And multiplying 4 with each of these numbers is not going to be bad, because each term has a lot of zeros in it. Now 4 times 200 is 800. 4 times 30, to do 4 times 30 I'll do 4 times 3, which is 12. So 4 times 30 would be 120. 4 times 2 is 8. Now all I have to do is add these three numbers, and 800 plus 120 is 920 plus 8 is 928. Now it's pretty much the same thing that you would do in an algorithmic multiplication, but instead of going from right to left, we are going from left to right. Well, that's all there is for distributive property. The only way to get better at problems like this is to do a lot of practice problems. So if you find some problems somewhere, then go ahead and work them out. All right, I'll see you in the next video.